Welcome back, Shalloners. Well, today we're going to talk about some breaking news in the Hollywood scene. Justin Timberlake being spotted holding hands with his movie co-star Alicia Wainwright. And oh yeah, his wife Jessica Biel was nowhere to be found. So we're not just going to break down this because there's like a lot of differing information about this, but I think I can kind of like see through it. We're also going to talk about cheating in general, and more specifically, what constitutes cheating, right? Because this is something we need to decide when we go into relationships, or even when we're still single. Like, you got to set these parameters before you even get into a relationship so that you know when a border has been breached, right? You got to plant your fence line if you want people to stay off your property. But before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that if you want to talk to me one-on-one, have a love question for me about friends, family, any little thing, find me on my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help. You can also head over there to shop some of this fabulous merch. Enjoy 'em, destroy 'em is just one phrase we have. We got feminine feminist, sweet and savage, warm-blooded, phone cases, backpacks, vision boards, all sorts of stuff. You can also head to my website to take a fun quiz to see how your social media stacks up and if it's sending the right message. Also, follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO, where I let you vote on the next video topic, and listen to my podcast, Girl on Top, out every Wednesday, every place podcasts are found. So here's the dirt with Justin and Alicia. By the way, I thought this was Alicia Keys. They look exactly the same. Maybe everyone named Alicia looks like this. You never know. So the deal is, Alicia, who's 30, was spotted holding hands underneath a table at a New Orleans bar with Justin Timberlake. So they're down in New Orleans filming this movie, Palmer, whatever. And some reports say they were on a break from filming, but then Hollywood Life has a source saying, no, this was a scene for the movie. Okay, so they were holding hands underneath the table, trying to keep it low pro, and she also had her hand on his knee. Listen to me. I'm looking at the pictures right now, okay? I don't see one crew member. I don't see one boom mic. I don't see lighting. I don't see microphones. I don't see a director. I don't see anything that would indicate this was for a movie. I've filmed before. I've done TV shows. I've done reality shows. I had a small part in a movie. Like, I know what a movie set looks like. It is a billion people. So I just recently shot my friend Iliza Shlesinger. She's doing the Iliza Shlesinger sketch show for Netflix. It'll be out next year. I'm so excited. She's so talented. And I shot like a little sketch for her. It was like a 3-minute sketch. It took 8 hours, 50 crew members. Like, it was unmistakable what was going on, right? This, what I'm looking at, this looks like people out at a bar. There's drinks on the table, there's cigarettes, like there's a dude standing basically right in front of them. So I was even thinking, well, maybe the crew was across the street, like filming, because it looks like they're on like a balcony or a patio or something. So maybe they were across the street filming, but there was someone obscuring the shot. So I'm like, this doesn't track to me. This doesn't track to me. And I feel also like paparazzi, because everyone is so litigious, I feel like they're good at like telling you what's going on. Like, if this was for a movie and they could see the set and they could see the crew and the wires and a million like trunks of there's so many things. They would say that, like getting flirty with co-star on the set of blah, blah, blah. Like filming a steamy scene. They don't want to get their ass sued, you know? Like, that's not good. And Justin and Jessica are kind of litigious. But Justin and Jessica have some problems, right? And the problems they have are the problems that all of us have. And this is sort of like when my foray into almost like this channel sort of started, when that seed was planted. So I have a friend that knows Jessica Biel, and Jessica and Justin's relationship, like they dated for a while and then they broke up amid rumors that like he had hooked up with like this backup dancer. Another workplace romance. Isn't that interesting? Perhaps we see a pattern developing. And Justin realized like he fucked up, he wanted Jessica back. And so one of the things that like they love together, Justin and Jessica, is Scrabble. As a professional writer, people always assume that I'm really good at Scrabble, and I am literally horrible at it. I'm kind of dyslexic, so it's like math, rearranging the letters, and people always put me on their team, and I'm like, you've made a grave mistake. I'm a functioning idiot. But they love Scrabble. And so to try to win her back, and they hadn't been talking. He did the grand gesture, right? The grand gesture that we always think we want from a guy when we're broken up or there's a break or there's cheating or whatever. He got like the suite at the Mandarin Oriental or something, like rose petals everywhere, and like had this whole Scrabble themed like wonderland for her, like a big board. It was made of cupcakes, something. It was something grand like that. And he was like, there might have even been a little string quartet. And she walks in and she's like, no. And he's like, what? She's like, no. I mean, this is pretty and everything, but how the fuck is this going to fix our relationship? You think you do this and everything's just fine? And he's like, like, did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. And that, I was like, wow, that's a very relatable problem. And that's when you realize it's like, celebrities really are just like us. I mean, some of them are really bizarre and messed up, like Tom Cruise. But like, when people seem kind of normal, like they have normal people problems, and money and fame does not insulate you from that. If anything, it makes it infinitely worse. So when I talk to you guys, it's like, I want to be famous. Like, whatever you're going through, girl, it is about to skyrocket into a different stratosphere of bullshit if you become famous. Like, believe me, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like, yeah, you can afford really nice vacations, but like you chemically need them because the rest of your life is so stressful. But it's better than being poor, I have no sympathy. But it just showed me that, like, yeah, if Jessica Biel can be like, no thank you, Justin Timberlake, for your grand gesture with nothing behind it, it's very relatable, because that's the thing with grand gestures. And we've talked about this with like Travis Scott and his like endless grand gestures for Kylie, but then meanwhile he's running off and cheating on her with that girl who we don't need to mention because she doesn't deserve the clout. Girl, go back to whatever it is you came from. And like, we all want the grand gesture, but more than that, we want the change that comes with it. We want the change that it implies. And guys don't always understand that, like, this is just like the tip of the iceberg. It's a big flowery, sparkly tip, but underneath that, the rest of the iceberg is you becoming aware, working on yourself, therapy, coping mechanisms, radical transparency and honesty in the relationship, respect, lack of contempt, right? And if that's not there, it's like, I don't want more flowers. I can't date flowers, okay? And it's almost to the point where it gets insulting. Like, you think I can be bought with a cupcake Scrabble board? You think that that's all I need out of a relationship is bullshit, 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 Scrabble board, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. No. So Jessica did not let him off the hook, and they really buckled down. They worked on their relationship. They probably went to therapy. Then she took him back. Then once he had proved himself, she took that next step and they got married. So I've always really liked them as a couple, but there's been some red flags over the years. Remember her restaurant, Oh Fudge? Ugh. A restaurant devoted just for kids is like literally my personal hell. I would rather spend 4 hours in Rikers Island than 4 hours in a kid's restaurant. But it was a cute concept and everything, and she really worked so hard on it, and she was so jazzed about it. And guess who was not in any photos at the openings? Guess who didn't post about it one time? Her husband, Justin Timberlake. And I remember I was an editor at Star Magazine at the time, and I was always like talking about this. I was like a truther. I'm like, where is her husband supporting this endeavor? Nowhere. And it kind of caught on. People were like, oh yeah, where is he? He's like tangentially in the background. He's like maybe being forced to post for one picture, is like giving that smile where it's like, you don't want to be there smile. And I was like, that's fucked up, because what I expect from a partner above everything, I mean, above like even sexual fidelity, is support. You got to support what I'm doing no matter what. You got to be gang for me. Cheerleader number 1, patient 0. That's what I need. And that really is like my line in the sand. Like, I don't care if you never talk to another woman for the rest of your life. If you're whatever-ish about my goals, and if you kind of poo-poo the things that are really meaningful to me, you're out the door. You're out the door. So it was like hard for me to watch this, because I'm like, I can't imagine what that would feel like to be putting so much time and money towards something. And maybe Justin was like, you're going to take a bath in this, which she did. It shut down. There were like so many complaints, like health code violation. It just didn't go well. It didn't go well. But like his restaurant, Southern Hospitality, also kind of crashed and burned in the same way. So you would think he would be very much in for this, learning from what he had. And maybe he was behind the scenes, I don't know. But a Hollywood relationship doesn't get to work behind the scenes. That's the issue. And he knows that. She knows that too. So the fact that he wasn't there for her, I was like, red flag. And now this thing with this chick, this is not good. So how can we learn from this? How can we learn from this? I think it is very important to define what cheating means to you. And it sounds stupid. It's like, well, we all know what cheating means. Aha, we think we do. But actually, when you talk about it, everyone kind of does have different parameters. I remember I was working at the New York Daily News when the Elliot Spitzer thing broke. Remember when he had like that prostitute or whatever? And we got to talking in the newsroom about whether or not watching porn is considered cheating. And I was the only person who said it was not cheating. And people looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, you don't think that's cheating? I'm like, no. If he's making a porn, if he's a participant, like that's another story. But no, like, what are you talking about? But it's valid if you do. Kind of. I don't know. I don't really think that's valid. I mean, people are allowed to do whatever they want to do when they masturbate. Okay? You don't get to be the police fantasy. No. The fantasy police. Maybe he has a police fantasy. I don't know. But I think it's very important to let people do whatever they want when they're by themselves. Let them think about what they want. Masturbation is healthy and normal. Sex is like anything else. You got to practice to be good at it. And if you don't want them out practicing with others, let them stay home and practice by themselves. If you saw an incredible guitar, Adam Levine, at a concert, and you heard that he went home and played the guitar outside of band practice, you wouldn't be like, you're disgusting. You'd be like, well, yeah, he's practicing. That's how you get good at stuff. So go spend your night getting good at things, ladies. It's important. But if that's your line in the sand, be upfront about that. Be like, hey, if you're watching porn when we're hooking up or in lieu of having sex with me, this is a big problem. This is a big problem. If it's, I don't want you going to a strip club. I personally like strip clubs. Max and I would go all the time. I'd buy him lap dances. I kind of liked it. I liked to watch it. It was fun. It was like fun. But again, I understand if that's not your thing. But for me, something like holding hands, like what Justin is doing with this girl, catastrophic. Catastrophic. I would rather watch you have a gangbang with other girls than hold a bitch's hand. It's so intimate. It's close, it's intimate. Sex can be very, very transactional. And ladies, we've experienced this with dudes, fuckboys, who it's like, we don't view sex that way, but they do. And it's like, yeah, maybe we'll like kiss a little bit, but there's a distinct lack of intimacy, right? But like you hold someone's hand, you can't get a fuckboy to do that. We've all tried, right? It's hard to get a fuckboy to like cuddle and look in your eye. I mean, sometimes they do, which is what makes them fuckboys, but like the hand holding when you're not having sex, that's really bad. I have told my exes, like, I would rather you, if you need to get laid, if you just need strange, which I get, you can like your favorite food. You don't want it 3 meals a day for the rest of your life. If you really need just strange, please just go to an escort. Please do not have an emotional affair with someone you work with. Please do not flirt. It's the flirting that's just like, because then you've engaged someone's mind. And we as women know when you engage our mind, you engage our heart and you engage our vagina, right? It's a trifecta. Guys, they really aren't necessarily like this, but this is how the sexes differ. And this is how we all run into problems because they can flirt like a fucking robot. Like we know how fuckboys can be. Like, oh, you're hot. Send me a picture of your tits. Like whatever. Like that's not like love or intimacy. It's a means to an end. And a guy, when he's on the prowl to get laid or whatever, he knows that that's what he has to do to get to that end result. Girls, we flirt because we like somebody. Flirtation is openness to us. Flirtation is like, I'm telling you about myself. I'm bonding with you. I'm looking in your eyes. I'm creating that chemistry. With guys, it's not always reciprocal. And so when they cheat on us and we hear these details, it's like, it just feels so much more of a violation than the sex itself. The sex is also a huge violation. Let's not pretend. So if I were Jessica Biel looking at these photos, it'd be worse than a sex tape. It'd be worse than a sex tape. So hurtful and so painful. So you really have to establish this at the beginning of your relationship or before you even go into a relationship, because trust is huge. Trust is the rules of your relationship. You go into a job, right? And you know the time they expect you to be there, how long you can take for lunch, how many vacation days you get. Those are the rules of trust in a job situation, right? So you don't just go to work. It's like, I don't know, what time do I get here? 2 p.m., 6 a.m.? I don't know. It's very clear. The expectations are clear, because then when you breach those expectations, the consequences become clear. That has to happen in a relationship too. So when you get into a relationship, be like, look, I want us to talk about what our parameters are for trust. If I see you're on Tinder, if you still even have that shit on your phone, if you are flirting, if you're talking too much with a coworker, these are things I'm going to have a problem with. And look, you say these things once and you don't say them again. You have this conversation once, write this shit down if you need to, and do it in a neutral time. Don't do it before, after you think maybe he's talking too much with Natalie at work. Don't do it after you've maybe seen an app on his phone, because then you're kind of sunk. The writing is on the wall, you maybe just don't want to read it. Because you say these things once, and then people are aware of the boundaries, and then they got to be aware of the consequences, right? And you cannot bluff. You can't bluff. If you say, if I catch you on Tinder, we're over, and then you catch him on Tinder and you're not over, what we permit, we promote. Every single day we teach people how to treat us. So if he gets the memo, tacitly or loudly, that, well, she's not really gonna dump me. She's gonna be mad and I'll delete it. And these aren't even conscious thoughts. Guys aren't executing some master plan in their bedroom with a whiteboard. These are micro calculations in their mind. The way every human micro calculates risk and consequence in every moment of their day. Can I make this light? Is that dog gonna bite me? Should I eat that tuna sandwich? It seems kind of funky. It's micro calculations. What conclusion is he drawing during his micro calculations based on your behavior? Because maybe based on results, he can be on Tinder. He can be out at the titty bars. What are you going to do? Leave? You haven't before. So he's going to tell himself that, well, she's probably not going to leave this time. What we permit, we promote. And based on results, his behavior works, right? Also, it's important to get that reciprocal list back from a guy. And more importantly than that, a guy needs to understand that there is no such thing as a technicality. Boys have this weird technicality response in their brain. So I was dating this dude and, well, we were hooking up, whatever. And then I dumped him. He was bothering me, but we stayed friends. And after Max and I broke up, we kind of got in contact again. And he's he had a girlfriend, which I didn't know immediately, but I thought he was seeing someone. I was like, Ben, are you seeing someone? And he's sort of. I was like, okay, whatever. But we were still talking, whatever, just friendly stuff. And he's like, let's just meet for lunch. I just want to feel you up. I'm not going to do anything. I'm a good boy. I've got a girlfriend, but I want to grab that ass. I miss your ass. And I just want to put my tongue in your mouth. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to kiss if you have a girlfriend. He's like, see, okay, fine. We'll just a little groping. That's fine, because I don't want to go any further. I can't go any further because I have a girlfriend. And I'm like, Ben, you are a dead man walking right now, just from this text exchange. Dead man. Do you think that if your girlfriend saw this, she'd be like, well, nothing actually happened? She would go fucking ballistic. So you might as well fuck. We might as well get together and just go to town. Let's make a sex tape. Because what we're doing now, this chitty chat, is worse. And I don't want to be a part of this. I I don't want to be a part of this. You know, like it was kind of like fun at first to catch up, and then I realized like his intentions were like different than mine. I'm like, I don't need to be this. I don't need to be this. And like, he just kind of like didn't get that. Like, because what we have here is a friendship, and she's going to interpret that as intimacy, which is like a huge breach of trust. If I was like a Craigslist escort you were texting to meet up at a motel in Queens and bang out, she honestly might get over that. But like to talk to me about your day, to ask about my day, to ask about my breakup, she's not going to want to hear that. And I don't want to be that girl. It's gross. I've been on the other side. I've been her, and I don't appreciate it. So I'm going to step back from this. And like, he still didn't get that. So make sure your man understands that there is no such thing as shades of gray, unless there are for you, But you got to take that time to really sit with yourself and be like, what are my parameters for cheating? Because look, with this Justin Jessica thing, who knows? Maybe it's a movie set. Maybe they're boning. It's all going to come out in the wash, right? Like if this is a movie, well, ostensibly it'll hit theaters and he will be exonerated. But if they're really hooking up, that's going to be a little bit tougher to prove on celluloid film, right? So Jessica's in a tough spot. Man, it's tough. It's, you know, see, this is another thing with fame. It's like, you think it's painful when like your group of friends is talking about like what they saw your boyfriend do. Think about it if it's like the international news media. Even if something is innocent, even if Jessica knows that this isn't anything, now she looks like a fool in the public eye. And that's also what's hard about cheating. You feel like you look like a fool, but you're not, girls. You can't control another man. You can't control his actions. And if you feel like you have to, if you feel it's like, I told you, you can watch porn from this time to that time, you can't go here and you can't go to, why do you want to be someone's emotional parole officer? I don't. I have shit to do. I don't find that fun. I don't find it sexy. I find it so like draining. It's a parent-child dynamic. And that is the antithesis of love. That's the antithesis of a sexual adult relationship. So if you find yourself in this dynamic where you're always like lording over it, what are you doing? You need to pull back. Let the boy go. Let his ass go. No man, no matter how magical he seems, should have a price tag that's your peace of mind. That's not what he should cost you, right? He should be importing more peace of mind into your life, more stability, more love, more support, more just relaxation. He should be aiding you in the race of life. He shouldn't be a broken ankle at the starting line. Thanks, Joan. For more, find me on my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help if you have a love question you want to submit to me and chat one-on-one. Also, you can shop the merch. Find me on social media at ShallonXO and listen to my podcast, Girl on Top, out every Wednesday.